That's a pretty cool bird song.
$1,000 loan from Noel's father. In 1991, the band financed and recorded their debut record, 40 Ounces to Freedom, on their own label.
I was watching a little YouTube documentary on Sublime, and I didn't realize that Bradley Knowles, at least according to it, went to UC Santa Cruz for a couple of years, which is, you know, not that far. I'm in Watsonville, or I'm up in the mountains outside of Watsonville, between like Watsonville and Gilroy just about, so it's not that far away. I had a handful of friends, and actually my girlfriend freshman year of college, I went to San Francisco State, but she went to UC Santa Cruz, so you know, it's interesting when you realize, like, oh, they had roots around here. Also, something I'm not sure of, and I always wonder, like, is Sublime, are they that known globally? Like, I know they're huge here in California, but it's like once, like, I also thought Bay Area rap was a lot bigger than it was. Went to New York, and people didn't know who Mac Dre was. So, like, actually, if you're watching this from not California, do you know who Mac Dre is? Bay Area rapper, like, to this day, rest in peace, when people play his music, people young and old generationally still go dumb, just fucking get turned up, some this face going out here in the Bay Area. And it's like, it's weird, but some cultural phenomenons and artists that you think are like huge, you realize, oh, that's just a regional thing. So I don't know, Sublime, Mac Dre, I feel like Sublime has to have made it further across the world than Mac Dre, but still wonder. It's kind of funny, I was about to be like, I don't know if people know how large California is, because there actually is, even though where I'm from, Santa Cruz, like San Francisco Bay Area, is more or less honestly central, closer to the middle of California. We essentially split culturally, whatever, I don't know who we is, California into Northern California. We have like NorCal signs people put on their cars, all that stuff, and Southern California, SoCal. So there's like actually a weird rivalry, especially like sports teams, like Giants versus the Dodgers. Like we'll have beat LA chants. There's like, generally we see LA and all that as like a little more like, these are, okay, I'm not gonna say we, but these are the arguments against. It's like faker down there. It's more Hollywood. It's all that stuff. Bay Area, we see ourselves as a little more independent. And if you look at the music and a lot of the production, it's a lot more smaller, grassroots, and independent and stuff, which is why I like the Bay Area. You know, even our recording studio we had is kind of more like a Bay Area vibe versus moving to LA and trying to become a part of a major label thing, which has its own, like, you know, perks, its own upsides and all that stuff. But yeah, there's this like heated rivalry. But anyway, what I was going to say is I was going to ask, I don't know if people know how large it is, but I actually don't know how, because we're in the middle of the state, I actually don't know how long it takes to drive the entire state. Like, I know to visit my mom in SoCal, it takes me about, depending on traffic and stops, about 6 hours maybe a little longer to go all the way down, but like 6 hours driving. And to get north, I think is about the same. So I'd say, I should look this up, but I think it's probably about a 13-hour drive, give or take, the whole state, which is actually huge. Like it's not that wide of a state. It only takes a few hours to drive across it, but to drive up it, it's a long state. So it's one of those interesting things where I don't think people realize, because that's why I was so surprised that Bradley Knoll went to UC Santa Cruz, because I think of him as like a SoCal, I think of them as a SoCal thing, but to know that bit of Northern California culture, because there's a lot of reggae, there's a lot of that here in the Santa Cruz area, it's like, it's interesting to see. And you know, I'm sure he played that kind of music before then anyway, but to see a bit of that DNA potentially work its way in, yeah, it's just interesting. Because that music's definitely loved and played up here, you know? It's one of those things where we're not super, like, we're not so tribalistic, we don't like things from Southern California, but we're a little more proud in this Northern California. We rep it a little harder, you know? That's the dust cloud left over from Luffy just running. So at that time of year where when he runs fast, it literally looks like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. This little bugger is a crazy web. Just like a super messy web. It reminds me of the brown widow we had that nested up in our kitchen for a second. That thing had to go. It's funny that like messed up webs are like a style of web, because when I was trying to figure out what it was, the brown widow in my house, like I was telling everyone that I saw it, I was like, it essentially looks like a black widow, but just not a black widow. Like the body shape, it had the buff legs, the general shape of it was very Black Widow-esque, but just it was missing the key characteristics. And then one of the things my mom read was like, oh yeah, they make like chaotic, weird, messy looking webs. And I was like, yeah, it just had a crazy looking web. And it was, I wasn't even minding it that much when it stayed in the corner, but then it was growing like into my pots and pans and all that stuff, like into that area. And it's like, bruh, you're a spider that's got any decent amount of poison, also an invasive species. Had to go at that point. But yeah, apparently that's a thing that exists. We got black widows and brown widows, and brown widows got some crazy webs. I feel like you guys can hear them. Like, I'll walk right there. There's been these crows, and I saw 2 of them flying overhead, and now they're just making noise. This is gonna sound weird, but I made a whole theme song and everything up for what I was calling at the time the Concerned Crow Parent Patrol, because there was this group of like 8 to 10, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 different, it was pairs of crows that were chilling in a tree. That little crow convention where they're all talking to each other, squawking, squawking. But then they broke up into pairs of 2 that would fly to like different quadrants. And I'm pretty sure those were different parent units that were meeting together, because at the time there was like a red-tailed hawk more or less in the vicinity flying around. At least I think that's what kind of hawk it was. But I swear there's some sort of intelligent network of crows that lives up here, and I think they meet together. Oh, hey, there they are. There they are. Let's see if we can capture them on film. That's one of the units. Moon unit. They were on to me. They heard me talking about them and they flew off. The Concerned Crow Parent Patrol. It's kind of just sang to the Josie and the Pussycats theme song. But yeah, you saw him there. That was some intelligence. They heard, like, he's on to us. The Concerned Crow Parent Patrol. Yes, the Concerned Crow Parent Patrol. When you hear that cry, look to the sky, and you'll see a pair of crows flying by, 'cause they're the Concerned Crow Parent Patrol. Watch out, copyright strike, here we go.
Thanks for watching the vlog. Watch another or subscribe here.